Buongiorno YouTube, it's Trevor here from Summit or Nothing, and today we are talking about sleeping pads. That's right, I have purchased a new sleeping pad. You may have seen me put up my community post and shared it on Facebook the other week, the link, and it is this little pad. It's arrived now. It's called the Bestway Ridgelite. It's currently $49.99 on Amazon for the large size, and I sort of commented that, you know, if it does what it says on the tin, which is an R value of 4.9, then it's quite a good alternative to the Thermarest NeoAir, which comes in at over £200. So I'm going to discuss this pad. We're going to have a look at it, see what it feels like, is it comfortable, what the material is. We're also going to compare it to the Thermarest NeoAir, because like I said, this pad, might be expensive, but it was worth the pennies. And then we'll also look at the Lightour that I've also been using, which is my other budget option, which is also really comfortable. But we'll talk about the pros and cons of all those in a second. But first of all, we'll have a run through and a look at the Bestway Ridgelite. So it comes in at 193 centimetres, so just under 2 metres long, by 63.5 centimetres wide, and then 7.5 centimetres tall. So it's quite a thick pad. So what's different with this? It shows you on the package here, it's got this firmer zone. So they've designed it with this sort of a foil inside to sort of keep the air in, keep the cold air down and reflect the heat up. I think it's the same sort of similar technology as the Thermarest, and I'm pretty sure the Lightour uses something similar as well. Obviously haven't got the packaging for all those anymore. So on the side here it says R value of 4.9, ideal for cold weather. Pad weight 638 grams, puncture resistant tough light material, and sporty durable 20D ripstop nylon fabric. Thermazone features aluminized film for superior insulation. Pump sack is a durable and lightweight. Low profile valve allows for easy pressure adjustment. So let's talk about the weight. Let's take it out of the bag and talk about the weight, because this is one of the cons of it. I mean, it doesn't feel that weighty, but I know a lot of you out there sort of voiced this concern in the messages. Well, some of you also voiced your concerns about the 4.9 R value, saying that you couldn't see the ASTM verification on the R value. But I remember the same thing with the Lightour. Back when I first got that one, people said the same, and I've had this out in the cold on the ice and it's been fine. Although people have been concerned about a few things with this, a lot of you have got the Bestway sleeping pads and have really gone for them and said they're brilliant sleeping pads. So if it is, a decent budget sleeping pad, then it's got to be worth it, hasn't it? Because not all of us can afford to spend like £200 on a sleeping pad. The Thermarest, I always said, it's comfortable, but I made a mistake and bought the regular size one, thinking that would be enough, and it's not quite big enough, and I feel like I'm perched on it all the time. The Lightour has then become my sleeping pad of choice. I've took this out much more regularly. It's wider, it's longer, it's comfortable. Once you get on it, you don't feel like you're falling off it all night, and it's it was decent sort of price. I think this was about £60. I'll post links up to them anyway. I think this one comes from AliExpress, but we're not discussing that, we're discussing the Ridgeway. So we're talking about the weight. So it says £1 7 ounces or 638 grams. So let's just confirm that with my little scales here. Like this. Right, so 0.71. The best weight is about 3/4 of a kilogram, so getting up to a bag of sugar, isn't it? So if we then take the Thermalite Ridgerest, the Thermarest NeoAir comes in at 0.42 kilograms, so a fair bit lighter, about half a bag of sugar. And then the Lightour, let's have a look at this one, 0.48, so just a little bit more than the NeoAir. So at first, for weight, the NeoAir is the winner. It's also sort of the winner pack size, isn't it? Look how small that packs down. But like I say, this is the regular, so it would be slightly bigger if you had the large. This is the large and this is the large, and they're not too dissimilar, but yeah, slightly heavier. So the Ridgelite loses that, but it's winning on price, so that's 1-1 at the moment. let's see what's inside it now. Okay, so here it is, nice lovely orange colour. Is the valve here, so there should be somewhere on here a valve that you just stick into that, clips in nice and easy, and then we're away. Fill in the bag. Also the bag here, the Bestway's bag, has this little internal pocket, and inside there you've got some patches for if you do get any punctures. Bear with me while I pump this up. It's not so easy to do indoors. I'm going to be here in a minute. So there it is, all inflated. So it took me about 3 minutes to pump it up in here. So let's have a lie on it now. Right. Right, I'm lying down. It is quite comfy, actually, for a sleeping pad. As I said, the Lightour has been really comfortable. Keeps you off the ground. There's a bit of a crinkle in this one. You can hear the aluminium inside when you're pumping it up, but it's not too bad now I'm lying on it, if I'm honest. It's not the most irritating noise in the world. So the Lightour I've been using, and that at the moment has got a bit of a slow puncher, but it's not enough to put me off using it. I have been using it still, and just every now and again I just have to wake up in the night and just put literally one lungful of breath in it, and it's been fine. You might argue, you know, well, that's what you get for buying downgraded quality. This wouldn't happen with the Thermarest NeoAir. However, do you remember what happened to Nathan's Thermarest NeoAir?
Basically, my Thermarest NeoAir Sleeping Pad has a couple of the baffles have actually let go, which is has happened to quite a few people, so I've heard. And they've actually popped and it's got fat, but fortunately at this precise moment in time that's only happened right at the head end, and what it's done is it's actually formed a bit of a pillow. So I'm actually quite excited about that. I won't sort of make a complaint about it just yet.
That's not happened with any of my other pads, so just because they're expensive doesn't mean, you know, that they're always the best choice, and you know, stuff does sort of go wrong. So I'm quite pleased with that at the moment. Like I say, it's the R value that's in dispute. It hasn't been certified, but they must have some way of sort of testing these things to be able to put an R value on the packaging. I don't know how it works, but you know, I'm going to give this one a try out. It's getting a bit colder out now, so I will be giving this one a try out soon. I'm just going to pump up the other pads quickly, and we'll have a look at all three pads next to each other and have a bit of a discussion. Hello. Right, well, I'm just pumping them up. I pumped up the Lightour, see, down here, and I've pumped up, you've seen that I've pumped up the Bestway. I just want to discuss pumping up the Thermarest because it's been a bloody nightmare. I'll show you what's going on. The valves on these two are they're both the same sort of valve, really. And they're just these little valves here. They're nice and discreet, they're nice and flat. You just pull the top one open and then you can blow air in it without the air coming out. And you just sit your pumpy bag in there and you just blow it up. And then when it's full, they just pop off because you can't get any more air in. It blows the bag off. And then you just close it up and it's done. The Thermarest is a bit more overcomplicated. It says twist wings to deflate. So I've got the wings twisted back that way. And I'm using the bag, and I've been going for ages and ages. You know, these both took me about 3 minutes to pump up. Look, I've been pumping this one for more than 3 minutes and it doesn't seem to be going up. This is what happened when I was out camping the other week and I ended up blowing it up with my mouth because I couldn't seem to get the bag to work, and it's happening again. So you've got to have this, you know, these are twisted that way so they're shut, so they're not deflating. That's open. But I think the air can still get out of this. You twist this black bit up and down, but if you twist it down you can't blow into it. But I think if it's twisted open, the air's just coming back out again. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I've been here for about 10 minutes now trying to blow this up and it's frustrating. So for ease of pumping up, the Thermarest for me is the loser in this, and actually the Lightour is the winner because also the bag that you blow it up with is also the bag you pack it in. So unlike the Thermarest and the Bestways, you don't have to have an additional bag. You just wrap this up into that, and then it's got the clips that you can fold it up and clip it all together, make a nice little packaging. So that's my favourite for that, is the Lightour. Anyway, I'll continue trying to blow this up and then we'll have a closer look at these 3 mats together. So I gave up again and blew it up with my mouth, but I've got it inflated. They say you shouldn't really blow pads up with your lungs because you get your moisture in there and it can cause mould, and then it can create the bag to sort of go stale and stanky. But I really couldn't get on with that bag for some reason, and no matter how often I was pumping it, it didn't seem to be doing anything. But anyway, they're all set up. So let's have a look here now. What I've done, I've laid them all on top of each other. So you can see what I was talking about with the Thermarest is a lot smaller. The one at the bottom is the Lightour, it's the biggest. And then the new one, the Bestway, is a mummy size sleeping pad and sort of medium range. So yeah, this is for the regular, was like over £200, and then it's even more again for the large. You're paying, just to get the large, the sort of price you're paying for that as an addition. So you're paying like 40-50 quid extra just to get the larger one. So it's a lot of money to fork out, but you know, what's most comfortable? It doesn't feel much different, to be honest. They always say don't have it so compressed that it's really tight as well, so you've got a little bit of flex in there. But as I said, this one, you're always feeling like you're falling off it. So let's swap them over now. The Bestway, that is really comfy actually. Really comfy. It feels like it's just holding you. It's like a mattress because it's got, rather than the ridges and being too, like, gets too tight when you lie on the Thermarest there, it seems to compress and it's quite hard, whereas this is quite soft and yeah, I quite enjoy that. And now we get over onto the Lightour. Very similar. I've found this pad really comfortable. So these 3 pads, fully inflated, it's a tie between these two for what's more comfortable, if I'm honest. So far the Thermarest isn't doing it for me. Now let's look at depth. Here's the Ridgeway compared to the Lightour. So it's slightly taller, so it's slightly thicker. Plus you've got the foil in there, so I can believe that R value is doing what it says in there. If that is comfortable and warm, I've had it out in snow and it's been very warm, hasn't been a problem, then I can't see that is any more of an issue. Now compared to these, they're a similar height really. This one again, just slightly higher, so slightly thicker, so you're further off the ground as it is, plus there's an air chamber in there, plus there's foil. So I would definitely say that if they're claiming that it's got that R value, I don't think it's too far out. I will look forward to testing it out. Obviously, that's the best way to find out, is to test it out. So I will be going out on a camp at some point with this one very shortly. Also got something else to test out, which I'll just hint at it. It's a new tent. I only put up 2 videos. Well, actually it was after my first camping video that went up when I come back to Blacktour. I had an email the very next day, would you like to test out a new tent? And you know I love a tent review, so yeah, I've got another tent to test out now. But anyway, that's it for now. Like I said, I've put options up below. I'm quite happy to go and try the Bestway. I'm always looking for comfortable budget gear. I've always said that, you know, the sleeping pad, the NeoAir, I was glad that I got it because it did make a difference, because I used to just carry like 2 sleeping pads, but that was before I found the cheap alternative in the Lightour, which is comfortable. But yeah, between that and that, they're both really comfortable, and I think having this sort of hexagonal like honeycomb patterning like that with the little dimples in it makes it so much more comfortable to lie on than this. Anyway, I'm blathering on. Thank you for watching. Leave us your comments below if you've got anything to say on any of these products. It'd be great to get the conversation going in the comments below. Anyway, that's a new gear review video. I haven't done one of them for years. Hope you've enjoyed that, and I'll be back very shortly with a camp, testing out the gear, and also with a tent review. But anyway, I don't shut up, do I? See you all again soon. Cheers!